The first Gentile king to acknowledge that there was only one God was the husband of Queen Nefertiti. His name was Akhenaten. This is Black elegance. Her name, Nefertiti, means beautiful one. Black elegance again was permitted to us in the embodiment of elegance for Michelle Obama. Queen Nefertiti's husband was Akhenaten. He was the first king in Africa that was a pharaoh to acknowledge that there was only one God, a monotheist. By Akhenaten making the declaration that there was only one God, that put the many priests who served many of the Egyptians' gods out of business. Therefore, they ran Akhenaten out of town, him and his wife, Queen Nefertiti, and there was a young male in their household who was not their son, whom they made the Pharaoh of Egypt. His name is King Tutankhamun, which means the living image of Amun, which was the greatest god in Egypt. Does that sound familiar? Adam was made in the living image of God. His name, again, was Adam, which means black man in the Arabic language, but red man in the Hebrew tongue. That's why you need this book. Why? Because Egypt was called the land of Ham, and the pharaohs of ancient Egypt were Hamites, descendants of the second son of Noah, whom whites tried to make the third son of Noah, but the Bible refutes them when the first shall be last and the last first. Japheth was first, who was always listed last in the names of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Shem, who was listed last, is always listed first because he was chosen to bring forth the Messiah. As it was prophesied by Noah, blessed be the God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his slave. That's why you need this book, The Complete History of Blacks in the Bible. Why? Because biblical black history unmasks Eurocentric Christianity's great white hoax. Did you know that not one descendant of Japheth, the father of Caucasians, spoke a word in the entire Old Testament? Not one, no, not one. Okay? Japheth was the first and the last of the Europeans, or the fathers of the Europeans, to be featured as a character in the Old Testament. Alexander the Great was prophesied of in Daniel chapter 8, but no descendant of Japheth's males were given speaking parts in the Old Testament. But when you see Eurocentric Christianity's great white hoax producing movies, that's all you see. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and thou shalt be saved. Order, the complete history. You want black history? That's Bible history in the Old Testament of blacks in the Bible, because biblical black history unmasks Eurocentric Christianity's great white hoax. This book is 700 pages. And again, this is Tutankhamun, whose name means living image of Amun. Okay. And Moses, who was trained in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, wrote the book of Genesis and said that Adam was the living image of God. Order, the complete history of blacks in the Bible on Amazon.com. As Michael Jackson taught us, remember the time. The complete history of blacks in the Bible on Amazon.com.